I know I called Michael Porter as the father of strategy. I consider you as the father of execution.
You can't have a strategy without thinking through what does it take to execute, where the risks are. Higher risks are in execution. 80% of a leader's time, other than the CEO, is in execution, not in a strategy. The complexity of the world will continue to increase. Do I have the capability as a human being to sort out the complexity?
What makes for a great CEO?
Here's a universal principle. There is no one who is all-rounder to be CEO. Be looking for all-rounder. You're searching the rainbow. It's not the best CEO, never. It is the best fit under the circumstances. In India, you don't make Tendulkar to be the captain. Bill Gates is not a professional CEO. He's great, but he's not a professional CEO. Neither was Steve Ballmer. Satya Nadella is a great example of a CEO.
What has China understood about leadership and scale that the rest of the world has missed?
You don't ask the question, what is the trend? We teach the wrong thing at Harvard. We should ask the question, who are driving the trends? These people are driving the economic world order. Because of Iran conflict, every country has suffered. So we now have a global economic war.
If you were advising American leadership, what's the one shift they must immediately take to stay competitive, you think? Diaspora Dialogues by TOI is sponsored by Lakshmi Basmati, the most consistent basmati. Sister Mortgage, offering tailored mortgage solutions. And Remitly, trusted by millions to move money worldwide. Here are 5 defining facts about our guest today. Fortune has called him the most influential consultant alive. He has spent over 6 decades inside the world's most powerful boardrooms, advising CEOs, governments, and organizations like Bank of America and General Electric, to name a few. If Michael Porter is considered the father of strategy, many would describe our guest as the voice of execution. He started out working in his family's small shoe shop in India and went on to teach and lecture at Harvard Business School. He's a best-selling author who's written over 37 books, and in his latest, China Has America by Its Throat, and he explains the 90% model. And today, I want to understand from him, why are so many leaders working harder than ever and still solving the wrong problems? Why are even successful CEOs suddenly stepping down? And why are leaders, even at the level of running a nation, starting to think like business operators? And who better to challenge the facts we often ignore than Dr. Ramcharan? Dr. Ramcharan, it is a privilege to welcome you on Diaspora Dialogues.
I am very appreciative you taking the time. It's a pleasure for me to do. Your questions are always very incisive. I learn from your questions, and this is a great occasion to share some ideas.
Well, many congratulations and thank you so much for, sir, on your new book as well. You've written this new book, and I read a Forbes review that said, when you write, executives listen. So I want to hear it from you. What is the 90% model?
So the key part, having worked with 50 companies in China, being on the board of a Chinese company, the 90% model of China is fact-based. Anybody can observe it, verify it. What is it? Somewhere in 2009, President Ho put together that America's global order must be upended, not by firing a shot, not by military action, but by economic action. So the model is, it has 3 parts. First, create capacity in China in selected industries, so far 30, that capacity is equal to 90% of the world demand. Sell it at depreciated RMB by 20%. This is a hyperscale. So the average cost of hyperscale is much, much lower when you have a substandard scale. And when you sell at a marginal cost, that price is also much cheaper. So one, capacity 90% equal to the world demand. Number two is depreciated currency controlled by the president. And third is sell at marginal cost with a single goal, get the world's largest market share and bring foreign exchange home, yens, dollars, euros, and so on. And last year, they brought 1.25 trillion.
Wow.
Use that cash to fund military, buy technology, buy companies, use that as loans to various countries and various companies in the countries, and use those loans to build those plants in Africa. If you don't do what China wants using coercion, which is well known, they did that for Australia, Brazil, India, and they did in October to America by not supplying the magnets we call choke points. So when I say their foot at the throat of America and other countries, let me translate, which is verifiable any minute, anywhere. They can stop each of those 30 industries within a week in any country. They demonstrated that in October by stop of magnets, auto industry, chemical industry, solar industry. They all were coming to a halt. There are many of these choke points. So far, West and most of the democratic countries like India, they do not have yet to be able to negotiate with a very similar outcome. That's where we are. Now, one more fact. If you have 90% of the market share in a country, nobody is going to invest money to build that industry in that country. So this has the double effect. You get the foreign exchange, you sell at the cheap price, public is unaware of what's happening, and you collect that money. At the same time, you have totally discouraged for people to build that industry in their own country. So you have the opponent hollowed of the industrial capability. If a war breaks out, you have nothing. At the same time, your internal GDP is beginning to decline, but with a 10-year outcome. You don't feel it now.
Thank you for sharing these thoughts. I do want to understand more about this top job as we're talking about leadership through your book and through your several books that you've written. CEO of a nation, like what has China understood about leadership and scale that the rest of the world has missed, you think?
Yes. So this is a continuation of Lenin and Marx. Soviet Union dissembled. Deng in China picked up the torch. He was coached by Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore. Lee Kuan Yew was his personal advisor. And each mayor was asked to have 1 week training with him. And they came to the conclusion, as Singapore has done, stay low, take the word communist out, and bide your time, and build economic base, take American money and American know-how and American investment, which they did. Around 2009, President Ho postulated the power of the United States, Tiananmen Square attack in the Iraq and so on. So they said, this is too much for us. We should now create a strategy that is no firing the shot and economic dominance across the globe. That's the part. So the leadership part here is not the way we talk leadership. No. It is having a head of a nation, single person, lifetime, autocratic with full powers. No checks, no balances, nothing. They are clear, they're articulate. If I put myself in the shoes of Chinese, I would say they are explicit. Leadership of a nation is one person. It has to be top down. It's dictated. They allocate resources. In this case, they build the economy. And now, a lot of fear, a lot of caution. It is planned as they always did. The difference, priorities, and meticulous execution, using and learning the know-how, how to do it, technologies from the West, from Taiwan, from Hong Kong, of the old, from all other countries. And that continues as the IP is flowing to these countries, to China. Sometimes under the radar, those technologies flow.
This is mind-blowing in the sense of how much of strategy is involved in this and that long-term vision and planning. But what are the leaders in the United States and the West still misreading about China's approach here?
You have a single person orchestrating not only strategy, its execution. They have a long-term goal, and they execute in the present. The idea of long-term vision is misunderstood. Long-term goal, we will dominate the world. We will reduce the strengths, industrial, of these nations. We will reduce the United States to a very small area. That's the goal. In doing that, what we do now. It all began in 1949. What we do now, they go to Lee Kuan Yew. He said, that's what he did. This is what you do. They did, year by year. They put a 5-year plan. It's executed meticulously. So people need to understand this cliche long-term vision is a lot of nonsense. They have a long-term goal. They have bases. They have a stone by stone to get there. And they don't deviate. You will note China is not actively participating in the wars. Venezuela, Iran, Russia, they supply material. In some cases, they charge for it. They are very disciplined in the selection of the steps for the next 5 years, and they execute. And those who don't execute, they get punished very quickly.
It's a survival thing, isn't it? When you look at leaders like Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, perhaps, and Donald Trump, there is a perception of a more direct and assertive leadership in these days. Is this a coincidence or is it a reflection of the times that we are in today?
You see, when you look at the world, every single day, you don't ask the question, what is the trend? We teach the wrong thing at Harvard. We should ask the question, who are driving the trends? Today, it is 3, you can call 4, plus an unorganized group, which I'll take you. Trump, President Xi behind the scenes, President Putin. The unorganized group is now, post-Khamenei, is what is left in Iran. These people have no single leader. Why? Because he is not a Khamenei, and everybody wants to be in power. There's a huge vacuum. Nobody is going to have a consensus. They have difficulty to make a decision, but they are a player in it. These people are driving the economic world order. Because of Iran conflict, every country has suffered. So we now have a global economic war. It's now. It's not 10 years out.
Well, that brings me to the next question. If you were advising American leadership, what's the one shift they must immediately take to stay competitive, you think?
Which I am. in Washington. The Secretary of Commerce has seen my recommendations. My broadcast of 9 minutes has been viewed by the president. The recommendation first is build your own house in order in industrialization. And he's on it. It needs to be much better. In life, everything can be much better. And I admire him for this. It's not there yet. So I've recommended that Washington should create a new department, split commerce, and create a Department of Manufacturing and Technology. I've suggested the composition of it, why it is needed. Washington created Homeland Department. Right now, the highest priority is build industrial capacity, that's manufacturing and technology of manufacturing, and to create a hyperscale to compete with China. To do that, you have to work together, United States, Europe, Japan, and South Korea. These 4 countries will command larger part of the free economy. They have to work together. It's going to happen sooner or later.
Feels like we require a leader to be long time present there so that there is this permanency. And then we're also saying in these days, we're seeing a lot of autocratic rulers or leaders. But I'm also seeing a trend in which the focus is more on the future of a nation becoming a powerhouse than its current happiness for its people. It's less important for its people to be happier and more important for the survival of that nation as a powerhouse in future. Is that where we are headed?
No, it's a very, very beautiful insight.
Thank you.
And the key point is here, economically, relative to China, nation is getting weaker because of the economic strength. But public does not know because they're enjoying the cheap products from China. They are of high quality. To do what was needed to be done in democratic countries, you need public support. But public is not supporting because they're saying, what's the problem? Things are great. They're coming in. They don't deal with these deficits. They don't deal that 20 industries in America have been killed. They don't know that. For them, stock market is great. Things are cheaper, which is a fact. And that's a part of President Xi's strategy. And if China says, I have a foot on your throat, the alliance of America, Japan, and Europe will have a way to have a similar ability to choke China's moves. Then there'll be negotiations. So those choke points are what will stop China to not have the 90% model.
A recent report on CNBC highlighted leaders discussing how AI could reshape leadership roles, even to the point of stepping aside. We've seen Adobe's Shantanu Narayan, Coca-Cola's James Quincy, Walmart CEO Doug McMillon stepping aside. Maybe the reasons might not be known immediately, but there is a pattern and it's hard to ignore. What are your thoughts?
Your observation is spot on. Here's a universal principle. There is no one who is all-rounder to be a CEO. Be looking for all-rounder. You're searching the rainbow. Universal
huh?
proof too. It's not the best CEO. Never. It is the best fit under the circumstances. Look at the sports. Coaches look for the best fit, not the best player.
And best players have often not made into great captains or, stuff like that. That's true. Yep.
In India, you don't make Tendulkar to be the captain. So the first thing is the failure is we're trying to get the best CEO, it's the wrong question. Is this the best fit? Now, as the conditions change, that fit can be loosened up because the conditions have changed. So you see that either in the initial stages, the fit was wrong, or second, over time, that fit became loosened up. These are the reasons for the turnover. Examples. Wrong fit, Starbucks. Everybody knows that. But it's a saga in Starbucks. 3 consecutive wrong CEOs. Short tenures. It's a fact. It happened in many other companies. In Ford, 2 or 3 consecutive wrong CEOs over a period of 12 years. In an auto industry, if a tenure of a CEO is 4 years, 5 years even, it doesn't do any good. Either the wrong selection, wrong fit, or the job changed so dramatically that you don't have a prayer to succeed.
I was just talking about, you just mentioned Starbucks. I wanted to particularly know about what your thoughts were about Lakshman Narasimhan, perhaps, and what happened.
I know him very well. No,
Okay.
I know him very well. So I'm biased on that. He is a superb CEO candidate, but not for this industry. I'm not a genius. I'll tell you just about 99% of headhunters will say, what was Howard Schultz drinking that he will learn a chain business in 120 days? He's brilliant. He deserved to be CEO, but not for a retail chain industry, where the success factor is at the store with the baristas. You have no experience, you will never get there. But he made other mistakes. He had an IBM person to be CEO who has never done anything in consumer. It's not the best CEO, it is the best fit. And there are people who will not be picked up as best CEOs on their own because they don't do publicity. You look Nike, what happened? He was a star CEO to become a CEO. And the company got into the wrong lane. And then bring the person who left early, bring him back and say, get this thing on the right track.
What is fundamentally changing about the CEO role? I mean, why are so many leaders struggling to stay in that seat?
Yes. So let me mention to you that some, again, universal truths. Number one, the complexity of the world will continue to increase. Do I have the capability as a human being to sort out the complexity? So the CEOs who were very successful in running an automobile company in the 80s, 90s, they cannot do this. So many variables from so many sources at different speeds. They were never trained. They were a steady environment. Number two, the speed of change is by magnitude different. Most CEOs have come from functional areas. They don't have a total picture. They have to build their mental ability to see the total picture. Fast, with less information, or too much information is sorted out. The key is crystallization of the goal and the priorities and flexibility in organization. If you don't have those 3 things, your tenure will be short.
Fascinating. And I think this is where I want to bring in your another best-selling book, Execution, where you make the case of strategy not being enough and that a CEO must take an end-to-end approach and follow through. I know I called Michael Porter as the father of strategy. I consider you as the father of execution in my ways. I would love to hear your thoughts more on this.
Yeah. Sujala, I need to give some history to the people.
Sure.
Harvard Business School in 1961 created a course on a strategy, first time. There was another one, Dr. Ansoff at Penn. A course did not exist in a strategy. And that divided into two parts, 2 semesters. First semester strategy, second semester implementation, which is execution. No faculty could teach both of them.
Why is that?
It requires expertise, skills. So faculty taught the strategy, different faculties, human behavior taught the execution. So it became a McKinsey product.
Oh.
Do the strategy, but they did not take into account a strategy could be a wrong strategy. You find out only when you execute. So I'm allowed in my life to work with billionaires, many of them high school dropouts. So I've been with them years together, and I found out no strategy goes into action without they simultaneously evaluating what does it take to execute. We don't teach that anywhere. You have consulting firms, they don't do that. They just give the strategy, give facts, make cases. When mergers are announced and Wall Street gets those fees, they don't think through how will it earn, what the actual execution issues are. So I like Warren Buffett approach. It's in my book. When he has an acquisition of major size, he gets 2 Wall Street firms, one for it, one against it. They all brought out the issues of what the execution, how will you earn the money. And he takes the one that get the business, other one doesn't. They get through the whole details. What's the risks? How will it be done? Who will do it? You see that they have strategy groups in companies, but they have no clue how do you execute it. And you can't have a strategy without thinking through what does it take to execute, where the risks are. Higher risks are in execution. 80% of a leader's time, other than the CEO, is an execution, not in a strategy. You don't spend 100% of your time on a strategy. Execution is tedious. You got to go to the ground to know. You got to know extreme details. People get bored. It's tedious. Dealing with people is very tedious. So people who do research, consulting and strategy, McKinsey, Bay, and so on, some of them are very good. They do this, but many of them don't. And therefore, those strategies get rejected. Boards reject.
And this is where you think a CEO's role today is more, they have that handoff after strategy and they do not follow through all the way to the execution, which is the missing link, and how that has got to change, right?
No. So that's the first part. You cannot approve a strategy without thinking through the details, how it will be executed, who will execute, are they capable? And today, strategy execution require, in most cases, partnerships, not just you alone. It requires connections, ecosystem, government people. Who's going to do that? Who has the skills? It requires cross-functional teams, not just one person. You have to map that before you launch the strategy.
That is so interesting. And this is where I have a dilemma. If a CEO had to choose today on what matters most, is it the right people, the right priorities, or the right allocation of capital? What would you say?
No, I have 3 items. No confusion.
Got it.
First, what's the goal? Not 10 goals. That's a scattermind.
One goal?
One goal, and with that, you will have supporting goals. But one goal must stand out. Take Elon Musk about Tesla. What was his goal?
To create an electric car. Yep.
No, dominate. Get ahead of the curve. Innovation, I'm going to sell direct. Innovation, my factory will be built in no time. Fastest ever. I take the lead, build a brand. People will pay advance money ahead of time. These are basic building blocks of a strategy. When I say people pay ahead of time, that's execution. I'm going to sell direct. Will Nevada allow me? I'm going to build a factory in 1 year. Does he know how to do it? This is very practical man that way. The best scaler and the executor outside China. He may be in China as well. He does that in his head. Now, what I did not say, the first thing is the goal. Second, the right people and the right jobs. Most fail in that area. There's always one or two. They're no longer adequate. Third is the priorities. Fourth, accounting, assigning accountability. And then you go from there on. If you do these 3-4 things, you have a better chance of succeeding. By the way, this is nothing new. This is 100-year-old. All billionaires do that. But we just don't teach this simplicity in the schools. It is simple. It is the hardest thing to do.
So with Microsoft, when Satya Nadella took the helm, he decided his one goal is going to be to change the culture of the company, and he focused on people.
No,
and
that was not the goal.
Okay.
Because I know how he was selected.
Oh, okay.
He
Tell us more.
Was a business goal first. And one of his decisions was supposed to be which technology to bet on.
So coming out of the hardware part. Yes. Okay.
No. It's very, very, I think it's one of the most brilliant decisions of the period. Steve Jobs made his brilliant decisions. Early Bill Gates made his brilliant decisions. Early Andy Grove made brilliant decisions. These are the historical great decision makers that everybody knows. This is Satya Nadella. He made the right choice. Now he goes and says, how do I take this culture from knowing all to learning all? And he goes all the way, and he rearranges people. He arranges priorities. He has a clear goal. He has a clear decision, clear execution. Bill Gates ran one way, Steve Ballmer ran another way. This is a homegrown professional CEO. Bill Gates is not a professional CEO. I've sat him several times across the table at dinner on an 8-foot round table. Warren Buffett and he and Jamie Dimon. He's great, but he's not a professional CEO. Neither was Steve Ballmer. Satya Nadella is a great example of a CEO. He created innovations people don't know. He created innovation to have 2 sales forces. One for new customers, second with the existing one. Larger money comes from the existing sales force. It took him 3 years to do that. Very quiet. He doesn't make noises. I don't see him in press. Other people have a press every day. Quiet, thoughtful CEO. And I believe he will remain in those top 3-4 market value companies. There's no question about that. The only thing right now, time will come to have the right successor. Everybody has to have that.
That brings me the fact that you're speaking about Satya Nadella. I think now I want to talk more about the personal leadership, about us as individuals. What do you think? Are great leaders made through experience, or do they see things differently from the start? Like, what makes for a great CEO?
We are chasing the rainbow to have a general formula. I have seen people who are totally quiet, rejected in the early days, and they come out. The best example I know is Father Tom Watson was on the deathbed. Father and son never got along. He calls his son back and says, it's yours. Son was a playboy. Everybody knows that. He takes over, guess what he did? He changed the world. IBM was #1 company at one point.
Yes.
People create energy, people destroy energy. You alone cannot do the work. That to me has remained a universal thing, that you are a magnet to the right people, work with the right people. You tolerate certain things, don't tolerate some other things. And then the second is the clarity of thinking where to focus. It's a question, it's not telling which focus, but your ability where to focus, where to play, and cut your losses.
But you do value wisdom built through experience more than
Of
textbook
course,
learning, right?
of course. That's the reason why you don't have a formula.
Dr. Charan, you've also spoken about learning trade arithmetic early in your life and how that it's called Vyapar Ganit, if I'm not wrong, and how that plus the observation in general. You know, you worked at your family's business in your younger days. Give us some glimpse of that.
Yeah. Remember, making money is a very old trade. There is no village, no country, no city in which you don't have a retail shop, in which you don't have what they call in India thelawala, and that is a street vendor. A street vendor is the micro businessman, businesswoman. It is exactly same decisions that a chairman, CEO of large company makes. Complexity, scope, speed are hugely different. Thelawala goes to the market in the morning at 4 o'clock. He makes a decision how much to buy, which one to buy, what's the cost. He has a beat where he goes. He builds his brand to treat the children much better. In the afternoon, he's not able to sell. He cuts the prices. At the end of the day, he needs cash. So these two people will white robes and crown, wooden sandals come, and they round up us kids, which are the kids of the retail shops. Small retail shops, no big deal. We buy shoes. We go to Agra, where Taj Mahal is. Every 2 weeks, my brothers will go, buy a number of pair of shoes, come back, sell, and go back again, sell, do that. So they teach what we used to have in Sanskrit, Vyavahar Ganit, trade arithmetic. And so they teach you what is cash flow, and then they teach you how you get the return. And so the return is profit over investment. And then they break it down into a simple equation, profit over sales multiplied by sales over investment. So a high school person doesn't understand that. They simplify the equation, cross out. No, profit over sales is a business concept. They call margin. I've seen many, many high-level executives stumbling on that margin area. They have to be trained, by the way. It's not arithmetic. And I'll take you through that. The other one is sales over investment. That's called velocity.
Yes.
So I walk into the Harvard Business School, they teach that, and I said, I didn't come here to pay $7,000 in 1963 to learn this. Because the instructor never understood that. So velocity means that if you have toilet paper in Walmart delivered every day to the store, you have a 360 velocity. If you deliver every month, you have 12 velocity. If you deliver every week, you have 52 velocity. So please note this. If it is every day and you make 1% margin, your return is 360%. If you deliver every week and you have 1% margin, you return 52%. If you deliver every 6 months, it's only 2%.
Wow.
So the great business people do both. Most of the people have not picked that one up yet. Would you believe that?
Wow.
People need to be trained. Just like you train in medicine, you better train in business. It is very important that training is not done in most schools. These founders, billionaires, they do have. In India, we have pockets in Gujarat, in Rajasthan, in Western UP, because the kids learn in the early stages with their parents.
Actually, that reminds me, I grew up in Delhi and I used to be very close to Ghaziabad, and I used to see all those Loha mandis and stuff like that. And there I would see these businessmen or women in general, mainly businessmen, and they would be like bargaining and talking like a proper day-to-day job, but they lived a very minimalist life back at home. They were frugal in a very wiser way, did not have too much of wants and needs, but it was more about business sense and the way they dealt with it.
See, we were all required to recite multiplication tables daily. We learned 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 2.5 times, 3.5 times. I do that now. I don't use a calculator ever and go through tons of numbers. We were trained that way. I'm from West UP. From
So mental math is crucial, right?
It's all there. It's cutting the numbers through or getting to the root cause is a big skill. Most of the CXOs don't have it unless they are trained. You can be trained. They should be trained. So you have disciplines who have not been exposed to it. A CFO is.
Interesting. So, and AI is kind of wiping out that role, as they say. At least that's what they say. But I guess you cannot take out that thinking of business acumen that's required with the math, right? So that would be a mistake right there.
Exactly. And you got to know how to use it.
Those margins, only the CFOs know.
Done one. Sujataji has just done for a Chinese company. They had $3 billion in sales, 10 plants in Beijing and so on. They were using 1 billion RMB a year. Using AI without extra expense, we turned that around now to 750 million a year RMB profit. Strictly using AI. And we are on the way to 2 billion. And they have 10 plants. Each plant is now profitable. This morning, I had reviewed the progress from London. It's strictly using AI. Chat GPT, period. In their case, I use DeepSeek. People have to learn how to do that. And you should see the celebration in the family. Hard cash earnings. People have
China
to know
again. I'm not surprised.
No, but I am doing it for them.
Oh, congratulations. That's amazing.
No, I did that. They come to see me in Tokyo. I spend 2 days at a time, 4 times a year. And then it took me a year and a half to do that.
Well, I think that's a very good segue for us to move into AI and technology. It's clear this is a double-edged shift, enabling like exponential authority and productivity on one side, but a lot of distraction on the other. What behaviors do you think leaders need to build today to use technology to effectively, manage companies without losing focus?
Yeah, Sujata, number one, they should cut out the cocktail talk. They all talk, newspapers, everybody. No. You are a CEO of a company, focus there. And you first think, if your total company market value is 10 billion, do you have aspiration to take it to 30, 20, 25? If you have no aspirations, forget it. Work backwards from there. What is required to go from 10 to 30 or 10 to 20? Start with the business proposition. Second, now you draw your value chain end to end, from the vendors all the way to the final consumer, even though you don't reach the consumer. And we say we start with learnings and do one project that make you earn it, deliver financial results, and build credibility. So if you are a manufacturing company, which I'm doing, is we have taken the vendor management first. And then doing the digitization of it. So I saw this in one company in India. I think I can name it. Larson and Toubro. Fabulous job. We affectionately call the CEO SNS. And it took, because in those days nobody was doing it, about a year and a half of 10 people to recode the data of the vendors. Then they build the AI platform. And they buy roughly $6 billion, in those days, $6 billion worth of cement and so on. And my estimate, did not tell me, is roughly 10% done.
Wow. Okay.
Now, nobody questions what to do. So I reviewed it 2 weeks ago. They showed me everything. I met all the people, how fast they are moving to embed digital technology to improve the productivity, sales growth, new products, improve and increase the cycle time. So the CEOs go to work. They have to spend their personal time to do that. They cannot simply delegate to the digital officer and say, do it. It's not going to happen. It's miserable. I love what Doug McMillon has done in Walmart. I want people to understand that Greg Penner, the Walton's son-in-law, is on the board. Family owns 51%. So he's got all the cover he can need. And he starts doing this. I saw within the first week in a gathering, not personally, and on my side was sitting Jack Welch. And he said, this is a good select by Walmart. He used to know Sam Walton very well. So here, he systematically goes after it with a clear view. Today, the person who's running North America is a person who came from digital area. He's not the normal retail guy. Think about that. The company is now being built all the way. They recruited Donna Morris from Adobe, and she was more than 10 years there, totally baptized in digital area with Shantanu Narayanan. I met that. I had worked for Shantanu's boss, and Donna was there. And so now they're recruiting people who are digitization baptized, changing the whole company. You see that how Walmart, the stock price almost doubling and increasing and creating more value.
Interesting.
So all these things are here. I say benchmark. I'm sure Walmart will welcome the CEOs to see what they are doing.
What are the 3 most crucial metrics you think a leader should track?
No. I think I've got to take you through this very carefully, why people will do what the KPIs are and how they're administered and how the incentives are. The rest doesn't matter. So if you are today in the inflation area, you have a lot of debt, you are choked by the Hormuz, your first KPI is the cash flow.
Wow. Nice. Okay.
That's number one. How you generating, how you allocating, how you're going to deal with the liquidity. I would want in those companies a daily cash flow.
Okay. That's one. Okay.
When Dave Cote became CEO of Honeywell, he put that daily cash flow. In the companies I'm in some of them I put daily cash flow.
Okay.
Number 2, I want data analysis of the consumer connect, customer connect, and so on. And what's the KPI there? No customer, no business. And AI is needed to do this 24/7 continuously. And then you clear your KPIs, what has to be done. People, different industries, different KPIs, different segments. I'm telling my clients, learn from Amazon, stop generalization, and go to personalization. It's 25 years old. Why are we not doing it? So it will tell you personalization about each customer. Do that. The third one I'm introducing, people call productivity. I want each human being to become more productive, which is different from company productivity. So how do I improve my own personal productivity? Number one, am I focusing on high-value priorities? Am I focusing something will create more value? I'm hesitant to do it. Number two is, am I learning something new that makes me more capable to create higher value? Number three, do I have the people who will take me to the goal of doubling the business in 5 years? That's how you improve your productivity. Separate from, I measure sales per person for productivity, profit per person for productivity. No, I want people productivity. They will get more pay, more satisfaction. They will be adapting to new technologies without being forced. I want to personalize, get the data. Technology exists today. Who is progressing, who's not progressing, who loves to do this? And they can do it at their own pace, but nobody can be zero productivity.
So continuous learning, self-improvement. So top three being cash flow. And then you're talking about how people skills and productivity is crucial personally, and customer life cycle, right?
You got it. There are others, but if you don't have people, you don't have customer, you don't have cash, you don't have a business.
Again, this is age old. We just have to get back to basics and learn the same thing again, right?
No, I call that universal.
Interesting. Okay.
You don't need an MBA degree for this. You got to do it. Even though I made my living teaching MBAs in a number of schools. But I'm for it. I'm for MBAs. But there are good schools, good instructors, good professors. But things I'm telling, they're not taught.
And I think this is where I am also, I did my MBA too, and that MBA students itch around Porter strategy and stuff like that. Did you ever get to work with or study with Porter or ever, do you have any insights around Porter if you ever got to meet him?
No. Let me give you one fact. You can verify it. Strategy does not make money. Reflect on that. It is the conversion into budget, proper assignments, and follow through that makes money. Nobody teaches that. That's what the founders do. The strategy is a set of ideas on a piece of paper and a PowerPoint.
Wow. I will. Dr. Ramcharan, this was supposed to be an interview gathering your insights, but this ended up being a masterclass. Thank you so much for your profound thoughts. I have learned so much in this 1 hour that I haven't learned in the last so many months and weeks. And that's the power of you, actually. Thank you so much for being on Diaspora Dialogues.
Sujata, it's a real honor. Your questions are just fantastic. I love those. Call me anytime. I love those questions. You get the best out of the people.
Don't tell Dad. I'm sending money to Dadi for a new Okay.
Remitly protects your information because your family's business is no one else's business.
She says it's the last time.
She said that the last time.
Download the Remitly app today and send money home securely.
Higher interest rates can force you to lower your expectation of a home. That's why our lender paid 2-1 buy down program, with which you can enjoy reduced rates for the first 2 years. We're Sistar Mortgage.
Your Independence Day pulao was so
On
good.
Friendship Day, Sameer got your signature biryani to share.
पिछले महीने मैं तो इंडिया गई हुई थी, तो ये बिरयानी पुलाव किसने बनाया?
लक्ष्मी है ना?
Lakshmi extra long basmati. Purity in our heart, quality in your cart. Lakshmi है ना?